What is performance evaluation in ISO 27001? Implementing an ISMS is only half the journey. The standard requires organizations to continually verify that the system is working as intended, that controls are effective, risks are managed, and the ISMS is delivering real security value. Clause 9 of ISO 27001 addresses performance evaluation through three mechanisms: monitoring and measurement, internal audit, and management review. Together, these three requirements create the check phase of the PDCA cycle and provide the evidence base for continual improvement. Let us explore each one in detail. Let us begin with Clause 9.1, which defines what organizations must monitor, how they must measure performance, and who is responsible for analyzing the results. Clause 9.1 requires organizations to determine what needs to be monitored, how it will be measured, when analysis will occur, and who will carry out that analysis and evaluation. Clause 9.1 begins with a fundamental question: what does the organization need to monitor? The answer must cover information security processes and their effectiveness, the performance of implemented controls, progress against information security objectives, and the overall health of the ISMS. Organizations that answer this question vaguely produce monitoring programs that generate data but no insight. Those that answer it precisely create a measurement framework that drives real management decisions. The standard requires that measurement methods produce results that are comparable over time and reproducible across different people performing the same assessment. This rules out purely subjective assessments and requires a degree of methodological rigor. Whether the organization uses quantitative metrics, such as patch compliance rates, or qualitative assessments, such as control maturity ratings, the approach must be documented and consistently applied. Timing is a critical and often overlooked dimension of effective monitoring. Clause 9.1 requires the organization to specify when monitoring activities will occur. Some metrics should be collected continuously through automated technical controls. Others are gathered monthly, quarterly, or annually. The timing should reflect the nature of the risk being monitored. A rapidly changing threat environment may demand more frequent measurement than a stable one. Accountability for analysis and evaluation must be clearly assigned. Collecting monitoring data and analyzing it are two distinct activities that may require different skills and organizational roles. The person who runs a vulnerability scanner is not necessarily the person best placed to evaluate what the results mean for the organization's risk profile. Clause 9.1 requires this accountability to be explicitly defined, not assumed. Documented information is the audit trail that proves the monitoring program actually operates. Auditors will ask for evidence that monitoring results were recorded, that they were analyzed, and that the analysis informed decisions. Organizations that monitor informally and rely on oral reporting struggle to satisfy this requirement. A structured approach to recording results, even a simple spreadsheet, creates the evidence base that both internal reviews and external auditors need. Now let us examine the two formal review mechanisms in Clause 9, internal audit and management review, and understand what each requires and how they connect. Clause 9.2 requires planned internal audits of the ISMS, while Clause 9.3 requires top management to formally review the ISMS at planned intervals using defined inputs and producing documented outputs. The internal audit program is not a single event, but a planned series of audits designed to cover all significant areas of the ISMS over time. The program must be based on the importance of the processes being audited and the results of previous audits. Higher risk areas and those with previous findings warrant more frequent scrutiny. Planning the program in advance and documenting it demonstrates the systematic approach auditors expect to see. Auditor objectivity and impartiality are mandatory requirements, not optional ideals. The standard explicitly states that auditors must not audit their own work. In practice, this means organizations must ensure that the person responsible for a particular process or control area is not the person auditing it. For small organizations, this may require using auditors from other departments, hiring external auditors, or participating in mutual audit arrangements with peer organizations. Audit findings serve no purpose if they remain with the audit team. Clause 9.2 requires that findings are reported to relevant management, so that corrective actions can be initiated and tracked. The audit report should be sufficiently detailed to enable management to understand what was found, why it matters, and what response is required. Documented findings also provide input to the management review and create the historical record that future audit programs build on. The management review is driven by a defined set of mandatory inputs that provide top management with a comprehensive picture of ISMS performance. These inputs include the results of internal audits, feedback on information security performance including trends in incidents and metrics, results of risk assessments, the status of corrective actions, and opportunities for improvement. The breadth of required inputs ensures management review is a genuine strategic review rather than a brief formality. The outputs of the management review carry real weight. The standard requires documented decisions on opportunities for improvement, any need for changes to the ISMS, and resource requirements. These outputs are not advisory. They represent management commitments. Auditors look for evidence that management review outputs have been acted upon, because this is what distinguishes an active management system from one that exists only on paper. For essential concepts that define how ISO 27001 approaches ISMS performance evaluation. Effective ISMS metrics translate abstract security concepts into observable, measurable indicators that management can act on. Good metrics for an ISO 27001 ISMS typically include control-level indicators such as patch compliance rates and access review completion rates, process-level indicators such as mean time to detect and respond to incidents, and objective-level indicators tracking progress against information security goals defined under Clause 6.2. The audit program is the organization's commitment to systematically examine its own ISMS over time. A well-designed program ensures that every significant process and control area is audited at least annually, with higher-risk areas examined more frequently. The program should be documented as a plan at the start of each year and updated as circumstances change. For example, when a new system is implemented or a significant incident occurs. Management review is the mechanism through which top management exercises strategic oversight of the ISMS. It is distinct from operational security management. The focus is on whether the ISMS is achieving its objectives, whether resources are adequate, and what strategic decisions are needed to maintain and improve performance. The meeting must be documented, and the outputs must be traceable to subsequent actions. Continual improvement is not a clause that organizations address once and then ignore. It is the ongoing discipline that separates a living ISMS from a static one. Every monitoring result, audit finding, incident, and management review output is an input to the improvement cycle. Organizations that treat Clause 10 as an active management tool rather than a compliance requirement build security capability that genuinely evolves with the threat landscape. Let us bring together the essential points from our exploration of performance evaluation in ISO 27001. If you want to implement Clause 9 performance evaluation and achieve ISO 27001 certification, our complete Udemy course provides the step-by-step guidance, audit program templates, and management review frameworks you need. Enroll today. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.